Welcome to my podcast, Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. I'm so excited you are here. You will hear some incredible stories about how people are serving around the world, how they overcame a struggle, how they serve. These shows will give you an edge in business and your personal life. I believe serving over sales will help you grow in so many ways. And now, about our incredible sponsor, Info. Info is a web app that puts your business on people's cell phones when you meet people online or in person. They can engage with your business or send out referrals with a button click, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The power of business is connecting with more people. Remember, your network is your net worth. Info will do this for you. I would love to help spread the word about these shows, so please subscribe to this podcast and find us on all your podcast platforms. Please share with anyone you know who could benefit from our shows. Please enjoy the show. Welcome, everybody, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. And I am a true servant. I've got to know Susan over the last couple of weeks, and I'm so excited to have her on because she cares. And in a servant, you want to care and you want to help your clients, prospects, family, friends. And this is what she does. Susan, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Steve. It's an honor to be here.
I always say call, but really it's a show, but we can go with call too. Yeah. It works. So I just found out before our show that you've been doing what you're doing for 30 years. How'd you get started doing all this 30 years ago?
It was called being laid off from 3 jobs, where all of a sudden, the first one was traumatic. When I was laid off the first time, I didn't speak to anybody. I shut myself off from the world for about a month. But the second time, it was a little easier. By the third time, I was laughing and saying, I think someone up there has a different plan for me. So I decided to become a master of my destiny rather than a victim of my circumstance.
Oh, I love that. And pivoting, I'm sure the listeners out there, somebody's trying to pivot or thinking about pivoting. Yeah. How much did it change your life?
Oh, totally. It totally changed my life because I'm a bit bossy. I'm a bit of a control freak in my own way. And it's like, I'm my own boss. I can do what I want. But at the same time, I'm also in business. It's me, myself, and I. We make a great trio, but that means we're doing a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, that's okay, because work, if it's good work, is work, whether it's an 8-hour day, 12, if it's good money, money producing, but more than anything else, serving other people, which you do.
Well, and you love what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's going to keep you going. And I know that burnout is one of the worst things that's going on now in the marketplace. And yes, you've just got to really love what you're doing. And if you don't, find something that you do love.
Right. And I'm going to go back to 3 times you got laid off, especially nowadays in 2023, we're hearing layoffs everywhere. It's funny how it's, layoffs are all the time. And you look where you are today. So where are you today and what are you doing to get past those layoffs and that, oh my God, what am I going to do now type of mentality?
So I created a training program when I started. I wanted to do training. I love training people. And so that was the basis of my company. So I did something that I knew that I really enjoyed doing, and that would be a recommendation that I would invite, your listeners who are in a situation is really look at what do you really enjoy doing? What is it about that? And then build a business around that.
I love that. You make it sound so simple. I know it's not simple, but
it
really.
Isn't. It took years. I've been doing this for 30 years now on my own. And I spent 25 years in the trade show industry. And then I lost my passion for that industry and what I was doing. And I really had a hiatus of a few years before I really felt that I wanted to put my energy into my publishing company, Aviva Publishing, which I've had for 30 years, but I started that to publish my own books originally. And then a book coach came along and said, would you consider publishing my book? I was like, that's something I'd never thought about. I was like, well, why not? And then now, 25 plus years later, I've published over 500 titles now, and working with all these nonfiction authors, primarily nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
But that's really where I feel I can help people in the nonfiction arena, especially with the marketing and ideas. I'm an ideas person like you, and resources. Where can we find some help that you might need?
Mm-hmm. No, and that's serving, educating and serving, and resources, and giving out your resources. That's why I love having you on this show. And it's interesting what you said. You published your own book just to do that. That's why you started the publishing, but you pivoted. I use that word a lot because we have to learn to change our business. So how'd your business change when this person came to you and said, I want you to publish my book? What happened? How did you pivot?
I just saw this whole business in a completely different light. Now, that was still while I was in the trade show environment, so I was doing the two, simultaneously. But when I decided, in fact, it was my daughter, she said, why don't you put your energy into your publishing company? That's what you enjoy doing. And, it was like, the slap on the side of the head that said, oh, yeah, why not? Yeah. I can do that. So
love that. I love that you listen to your daughter, your friend, or your peer, or whoever. That sometimes because they're outside looking in or hearing in.
You become so myopic, often, especially as I say, it's me, myself, and I. Yeah. I'm not frightened to tell people that. Now, have I got subcontractors I work with? Absolutely. I've got tons of people who I work with and I offer work. But in this environment, I work out of my home. I'm not frightened to say that. Although I remember the years when I first started, I would never tell anybody I was working from home.
It's changed so much. Now it's a badge of honor because I work from home too. We're like, hey, we're on this big podcast. Hey, we work from home. Yes, it's a good thing.
And we're online. Look at this. I mean, we've seen so much that has evolved, and there's so many more opportunities out there. And I know you've interviewed a ton of people, and everybody's doing something different. And it's a very exciting environment. Super exciting now.
So if somebody out there is looking to write a nonfiction book, how could they reach out to you? Let's give them your contact information.
So what I always do, Steve, is say, hey, let's do a brainstorm session first. It's like, and so I got that link, brainstormwithsusan.com. And I say, that leads to my schedule. You book a 20-minute session with me. We get to know each other. We find out, first of all, what you want to do, what you want the book to do for you, who your target audience is, and not trying to sell you anything. I want to find out what it is that motivates you, what you want the book to do for you, because I want people to be realistic about what a book can do for you. Unless you're a celebrity, selling books is not going to make you money. Yeah. But speaking, coaching, training, all of these, again, that falls into, almost that servant leadership, education, as you said, that can make you money. And that can, bring you notoriety or, become an expert, an authority in your field. Yeah. And that's what I really look for for people, for themselves. Right. To be a big fish in a small pond.
Amen. I love that. So any listeners out there are probably thinking, like I'm thinking, I want to write a book. Do you work with first-time authors as well that have never written a book before?
Yes. Most of my authors are first-time authors. Now, actually, they often come from a book coach. Most of my business has been referral business. Mm-hmm. But now with AI software, it's so much easier to write a book. You plug in the outline of the book and you can get book description, you can get chapters written for you. I mean, it's amazing. And Then what needs to be plugged in is obviously it's got to be in your voice, it's got to sound like you, and you add your own anecdotes, your own stories. And that's what really brings it to life, because Steve, at the end of the day, there's nothing new under the sun. You've just got a different approach, maybe a different model, a different system, a different strategy of doing something.
Yeah.
And that's what you're bringing to the marketplace. But really, they're buying you. They're buying what you can do. How can you help them? How can your model, how can your strategy help? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes it. I love it. My head's spinning, and it's like, we've already talked before. I'm, writing a book. We're going to talk more about that. And you actually gave me a great suggestion for a book. But when I think about a book, I want you to talk about, okay, I write a book, but there's so many spin-off opportunities. I know you don't do it, but you have research. What are those? So you write my book or publish my book. I write it, you publish it. Let's kind of walk that journey, because I'm excited. What else could happen once that book's out there and you've published it?
Well, first of all, who's this book for? That's a big, piece of the puzzle. It's knowing what you want the book to do for you and who this book is targeted to. And in fact, my book, Riches and Niches, How to Make It Big in a Small Market, I really talked about how you niche down or niche down. I prefer niche. I'm a Francophile. And having spent many years in Paris and learning French. So you want to know what this book is you want it to do for you. If you want to become known as an expert in your field, it's not necessarily, you're not going to become famous necessarily, and I should say, you could become that big fish in a small pond. Like my situation in the trade show business, Steve, I came in, nobody knew who the heck I was. After 25 years, I had journalists calling me. I was everywhere. That's what people, the perspective that I had created. I'd written books, I'd written umpteen articles. My name was synonymous with trade show training. Mm-hmm. I sold 500,000 copies of my first book, exhibiting at trade shows, tips and techniques for success. Now, that's never going to be a New York Times bestseller. But that book was sold to one company who had the same target audience as me. What? And those are the kind of strategies that I work with my authors to build.
But you sold 500,000. I don't care, we're not going to talk numbers, but the profits and all that. But so what I'm hearing from you, and get really excited about this, you can have a lot of people buy your book with a short profit margin from a business standpoint, and do quite well, get the coverage, get all your expenses covered in writing the book. And because of AI, you can write your book a little faster, correct?
Oh, yeah. You could get it done in a weekend. You could done in a week. I mean, wow. The way things are going now, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I've been playing with that with one of my, he's a friend, colleague, and he was a professional footballer, and he's transitioned to another career, and he wants to help other professional footballers transition, because it's a very hard thing when you've been in that environment, you've had a coach, you've been led, you've been trained, and now all of a sudden you're out there and it's like, nobody knows who the heck you are.
And athletes have great stories that we all can learn from.
Wonderful stories.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful stories. And really, at the end of the day, Steve, that's what makes the book, are your anecdotes, your touch, your uniqueness that you bring to the subject matter.
Now, when you say footballers, is that the soccer footballers or the American football? I
believe it was American football.
Oh, cool. Okay, good.
I know, which I know nothing about.
And you don't need to.
Enough to be that dangerous,
Oh, I so love that. Let's talk about a book. You're a publisher, but I know you mentioned one or two books that really you loved, you recently read, that I'd love for the audience to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a real lover of Michelle Obama. I hope that many people who are listening or watching this have read, Belonging, which was her first book, and then the second one that I'm almost finished, The Light We Carry. She's just such a beautiful writer, and again, it's her stories. And I love listening to books. I'm a big audiobook fan. And she reads her own books. And it's so beautiful because, you've seen her so often.
Yeah.
And she's just got this beautiful personality. And that personality, she's been able to really inject that into her writing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And what's the name of the other Belongings? You mentioned another book before the show.
Oh, Belonging, but that's her first book.
Okay. And she only has one book?
And now The Light We Carry.
The Light We Carry. Okay.
The second one that she's
awesome.
written. Yeah.
I love that. And talk about experience. She lived through an interesting life. I'll just leave it at that. Being the president's wife, right?
Exactly. And she shares that. And she shares it and makes it so human.
Yeah.
That you can really imagine. She tells these stories about how her and her daughters tried to sneak out of the White House without, because she didn't want the security. And I think they succeeded.
Yeah. She's pretty smart, so I wouldn't be surprised.
She is. She's a smart cookie.
So one thing that came to me as you were talking so eloquently about what you do is, and it came to my head, what kind of timeline? So I meet you Discovery. We decide, hey, I want to work with you, Susan. Here's the what I want to do in a book, kind of a summary. What's that timeline? And can you tell us what that timeline would be for any of the listeners that would want to know that?
Well, as I said, now with AI, it could be written in a weekend. A book. However, for it really, it depends how much time you have to invest. It's almost like saying, how long is a piece of string? Because it just depends. Are you dedicated to doing this full time for a certain period of time? Obviously, it's going to be shorter if you do that. Or you're doing it alongside a job or, developing a business. So it could take, I've got authors who have taken years to write their book. Years.
Okay. And I love that because that's a part of it. The other part is, okay, I've written that book. You get it now.
Mm-hmm.
What steps happen now? So I want the listeners that are thinking about writing a book, what the journey would go through.
Yes. So the book has to be edited.
Okay.
So I refer them to, I've got several editors. I try and match people up with the right person. I don't say you have to work with this person, but I've got several people. I say, this is a good match, or see if it's a good match, talk to them. And so the book gets edited, and then they need a book cover. So they need a graphic designer. And then sometimes the graphic designer also does the interior layout and design. So it's got to be typeset. And then you've got the opportunity, do you do print on demand? Which, if you don't know how many books you need, that would be my first recommendation. Don't go to print with books until you know you can sell them. And then once you know that, you could pre-sell them and then know, oh, well, I pre-sold 100 books. Great. Then go and get, 150, 200 books printed. The last thing you want is a garage or a basement full of unsold books. And believe me, I've had that.
So that's a great tip. Print on demand. That's because I used to do print on demand shirts. So I know that industry. It's great. Hey, somebody goes and orders, they make it out. It goes. And you help people get on Amazon as well. I know that's the big bookseller.
Yeah, we can, open an account on Amazon, get them posted on Amazon. And I always say, don't rely on that. It's just one avenue. Gotcha. And Amazon will do diddly squat for you.
Yeah.
For the most part. You know, it's a book. It's a shop window. You still have to bring people to the shop window.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't bring them there, it's like it's just sitting there gathering dust.
Yeah.
So don't think that just, and this is unfortunately the fallacy that many authors fall into this, that, oh, I'm going to post a book on Amazon, and then somehow somebody somewhere is going to discover it, and I'm going to be rich and famous. Sorry, folks.
Doesn't work that way.
I wish that fairy tale was true, but it isn't.
No.
Now, some people, do have luck, but they've put the work into that too. It's not that it happened by itself.
Yeah. Or they have name recognition that helps.
Name recognition.
Tom Brady writes a book, who just retired. I mean, he's going to sell millions of copies because he's Tom Brady. Steve Ramona goes, "Who's that guy? That's some crazy guy who does a podcast." He's not going to sell a book, which is, and I love that you said that. You could still be, I'm going to reiterate that. You can still be successful with your book if you're not Tom Brady. I love that you said
absolutely. That. And you do, but you don't focus your book on everyone. This is another myth. I get authors and I say, well, who's your audience? And they say, oh, I've got a universal message. My message is for everyone. I said, great. How are you going to sell to everyone?
Interesting.
You can't. Not even, the Procter & Gamble's of this world try to do that. They have different sections. You look at, Nike is a great example with their clothing, and you go into a Nike store and there are different departments, for tennis, for baseball, for football, running, it's a different market for all of them. And the same with your book. If you targeted a particular market, you have much more ability to be successful. As I said, my book was only successful because I was in a niche market.
Yeah.
And I looked for somebody within that niche market who was interested in my target audience, or we had the same target audience. It wasn't mine because it was theirs as well.
Right. I want to go deeper in this. This is awesome information. I'm learning so much. I'm really super excited. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. So let's use an example. I write a book about men grieving. How do men grieve better than most, let's just say. So let's use that title, that genre, that kind of summary. So where would you put that in your, say, department that you're using with the Nike example? Where would that go?
Well, again, you look at men, men grieving. Now, where do you find men who are grieving? Is there an industry you look at? Would you even go to something like the funeral directors? Where would you start with this? We'd have to look at, what would be the best place? Where do you find men who are grieving? Yet they could be anywhere. But do you go into one industry?
Yeah.
If you come from a certain industry, that's often a place that people go back to because they know it. And you're just using sort of a different cover, so to speak, to work with them. But it's defining that niche audience for that particular book. It might be, in a religious environment, maybe, in a church, in a temple, where do you find these people? And that often could be the case.
That's
now it's a great subject too, because,
we were talking about earlier.
I had this conversation beforehand. It's very hard often, without being sexist, for men to display emotion, but yet they're still grieving and they still need to talk about it. So a book about that would be phenomenal.
Yeah. So let me give you an example. I've laughed in my head as you're talking. I wouldn't sell a men grieving book at a concert. So that is, it's kind of a crazy, but it because people are happy there. It's a music and that's where your 30 years come in. I want to really bring value to that. That's where that 30 years will help me or any listener out there that wants to write a book, correct?
Absolutely. That's what I want to share, is obviously what I've learned and the mistakes I've made. Don't think I haven't made mistakes. I've made a lot of them, and I still do. But maybe I can help prevent you from making the same mistake I made or mistakes I made.
Yeah. My dad said when I was young, many times, don't recreate the wheel that's already created.
Exactly.
And
And
that's
there's
exactly
nothing
what you
new
do.
under the sun. You and I mentioned this before. It's like, it's your anecdote, it's your stories, it's your approach to the subject, which is based more often than not on your own experience. Because if you want to become an expert in an area or be seen as an expert in an area, you need to have had that expertise. Otherwise, people will start saying, he's writing about this, but he isn't any expert in this area.
Yeah. That's really good. There's a ton of information. One last question that came to my head. Is there a difference between a hardback and a paperback? And is that something you decide, or is it just universal? I write my book, I get both styles of a book.
So the answer is yes and maybe no.
Okay.
So you can have a hardback, a softback, an audio version of your book, an ebook. And it doesn't mean if somebody buys, let's say, the audio book, that they're not going to buy a copy of the printed book as well. I've done that. Or I get the ebook because I'm a visual person. I need to see it as well as hear it. So often I do that. Now, a lot will depend on your market as to whether it goes soft or hardbound. If you're in a corporate environment, often the recommendation is to go hardcover. There's, again, a perception. It's no rules, but there is a perception out there that a hardcover book is more of a real book. And then when you're in, let's say, academia, or if you are in corporate environment, that hardcover book looks more in line with their expectation of a book.
Right.
Let's put it that way. I'm treading carefully here because I'm not don't want to make any, statement.
No, and this is your experience. This is why I asked the question.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's
convoluted answer. It's not like yes or no. It's not like 1 + 1 is 2. But that's where you come in as the expert to go, Steve, Ramona, here's your genre. Here's what you're doing. This is where I think it should go. We can do this, this, and this. That's what I want people to understand about you. This is so valuable.
Yeah.
If you want to write a book.
Again, it depends on your marketplace, whether, they can afford a hardback cover and a hardback cover. I only speak for a living, get tongue-tied as well. So yes, because you're going to have a higher price tag on a hardcover book. And now there are shortages of paper, and because of distribution, since, our wonderful pandemic, that, it's created, this domino effect, and the paper sources are one of them. And so we're putting maybe a $29.99 price tag on a hardcover book. Now, can your audience, are they going to lay that out for a book? Versus a standard sort of $19.99. By the way, 99 now is the new 95.
Interesting.
It's
That's a great tip.
Orange is the new black.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, good. You used to have everything was 95 cents. It's now 99. You look at the books, and often you'll see that. So I'm encouraging authors to put that, because then it sort of blends in with what's out there.
Right.
And the books that we want our authors to produce have the look and the feel that if you see them on a bookshelf and in a bookstore, that you could not tell whether they were traditionally published or self-published or, hybrid published. So, yeah.
Well, we're running out of time. Again, I've said this twice on the show. We could talk forever. I want to thank you. You gave so many great tips that I've learned from. I know the listeners will. And listeners, I challenge you, please. You've watched my other shows. This is one of the best ones I've done because she's given you education, information at no cost. That's why I did Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. No, it's going to come back to her somehow. I thank you again for being on. Let's shout out your contact information again.
Thank you. So go to brainstormwithsusan.com. And it's literally brainstormwithsusan.com. That'll take you to my calendar. Book a 20-minute complimentary call with me, and we'll chat about your book, what you want it to do for you, who your target is. If you don't know, that's what we'll work on.
I love it. And this will all be in the show notes. So after you listen to the show 15 times, because you're going to have to, because there's so many nuggets here, go to the show notes and reach out to her. Mention my name if you want my podcast. Let's finish this with a great tip. You've given us so much information, but what would you like to leave the listeners, the audience, something that you've learned over these great 30 years to help them for their growth personally or professionally?
I love that. Never give up. You know, you're going to have a lot of bumps in the road. You're going to have a lot of roadblocks along the way. And you just have to keep going. You just have to keep going. You know, I always think of those blow up dolls that, you know, you knock down and they bounce back up again. And you have to be that person. Yes, have a pity party for a day, but then bounce back up, and you can fight the good fight, so to speak. So yes, don't give up. There are lots of people out there who can help you, who can, give you some motivation, some inspiration. And I just wish everybody well. And it's just been a total pleasure to be on this show, Steve. You're amazing. I love what you're doing. I love your energy, and it's good work. You're good people. Thank you.